Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload will be giving another update about that winter storm potential that will be occurring across the Midwest. Now the track continues to change. We are still a bit away from the storm, but really it looks to be the models are coming into more and more agreement. The National Weather Service is also starting to pinpoint the area of the heaviest snow. So definitely a lot of updates from yesterday's video. And if you guys do like what you're seeing on this video throughout the video, consider checking out the channel, the other videos, consider subscribing, and if you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be awesome. Otherwise, let's jump right into this winter storm. Before we start, I do want to say that I just finished taking a final exam for one of my classes, so my brain may be at a bit of a lower rate of processing, if you will. It was a bit of a tiring day, but hopefully it will not impose any big impacts. All right, so let's start talking about this. Notice that the National Weather Service map, NWS Weather Ready Nation map, really doesn't have a lot of warnings or watches from this storm yet. The only areas that are correlated with this system are right across northern New Mexico, and again, that is mainly the elevated areas. You could see that what they have is a bit of some winter storm watches issued. Notice winter weather advisories into Colorado, but south of the border, winter storm watches. So if you were to take a look at them, notice that the snow is pretty significant where it will occur, but you can see it's pretty far up, 7,500 feet up in the elevation. So obviously where the snow will fall, it will be a dangerous travel. That's why they issued the winter storm. But that will spread into much of the United States later on. So what I want to focus on is the system, and let's start off by looking at the GFS. The main difference from, say, today's video and yesterday's video is that this storm has taken a bit of a more northerly track. Now, that still isn't set in stone, and there are a lot of cities, pretty large cities, that are on the cusp of seeing, significant snow or really just rain. It will be a precip maker for much of the Midwest, but what type of precip and exactly how much is just a nightmare to even predict at this point. But nevertheless, let's go into this. Notice today was a pretty nice day across much of the United States. A little bit of a clipper system across the Northeast and portions of the Northwest. We have our southern phasing piece, kind of the main energy that will be supporting this winter storm in the coming days. It's now centered across the Pacific Ocean, just west of the Baja Peninsula. But notice, very warm. If you walked out today in really much of, anywhere in the east, the west, the south, all the way into the north, it was a very nice day in terms of temperatures, very pleasant conditions. And notice that for tomorrow, that trend continues, at least for a majority of the United States. The Northeast is a bit chilly with those snow showers kind of dwindling down and also posing a bit of a miserable day potential. But notice the Northwest does also seem to cool off a bit as we have this little speeding clipper just zoom almost completely west to east. I mean, with no absolute look at that, thing's as straight as it can be. And notice that what we start seeing at around tomorrow, that was weird. I'm telling you, my speech may be a bit weird today, but even weirder than it usually is. So buckle down. But notice that 6 a.m. tomorrow in the morning, we start seeing precipitation move into northern New Mexico, into the southern United States. So even the Southwest may get a bit of precipitation out of this, not only in the form of snow, as you saw by those winter storm watches, but in the lower elevations, some rain. Now, it won't be a lot, and it would be better if it was more, right, as there are droughts all over those places. Southwest is pretty much just covered in a drought. And obviously, torrential rain isn't good, as mudslides, landslides cause they basically commence out of that rain. But late rain at this rate is a bit too late to do anything, but better, it's better than nothing. And notice this is now 6 a.m. Friday. We start seeing rain push into the southern plains. Really, though, not anything significant. And I do want to say that this storm, while it will be impactful, will drop a lot of snow and rain, it won't be by itself a strong storm in terms of this low pressure. The thing is, it will have a lot of precipitation to work with, which means that it doesn't have to be strong in order to produce a lot of precip and snow. But notice, I'll show you what I mean. Notice that we start seeing a band of rain really develop, a bit of snow where that cold air collides with this. Notice it's really across northern Illinois, Iowa, into Wisconsin, into portions of Nebraska, Kansas. This is 6 p.m. Saturday or Friday. As we push into midnight Saturday, this is what it starts looking. Notice the low pressure 1001 millibars. I mean, it isn't a weak low pressure, but well, it's definitely closer to the weak side than the strong side. Let's just put it that way. Sometimes we could see low pressures that are 978 millibars of low pressure during the winter time, or in the 970s, 980s. This one barely will even make it across the 1000 millibar benchmark when it's across the United States. So notice that eventually it does, right? And it's 996. And what it does start doing right there is very heavy rain, lots of snow where the cold air will meet. And the models have recently, because I'm a bit surprised that it's actually as strong as they're showing it, 996. They have recently been intensifying it a bit, which would mean more warm air to the east and more cold air to the west. So cities like Milwaukee, according to the GFS, cities like Green Bay could be seeing some snow. Even portions of Des Moines, Iowa, if this continues further to the north. Now, if this goes further to the south, cities like Chicago may see this. Cities like Kansas City may see some snow, significant snow. Now, if I were to be a betting man, act as a betting man, I would say that this storm will continue to trend a bit further towards the north. The models have been indicating a trend, most models, a push towards the northern areas. So southern Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Illinois may get some, but not necessarily the Chicago or the southern Chicago area or northwest Indiana. It seems unlikely, but possible. Again, I know that a lot of people in Chicago are probably annoyed by that, but again, that's just how winter is. We still have a lot ahead of us, and it looks to be an active track. I live in Chicago, right, and I wish that we would be able to see snow out of the system. I was hoping to, but it just doesn't look like if that will happen, or at least any significant snow. Notice that this thing, again, does spin up quite a bit of wind. There could be a bit of a lake effect enhancement, as you can see the arrangement or the placement of this low according to this GFS model run. Lots of the northeast will stay as rain as the cold air is lacking, and with this system taking a track way farther to the west than the northeast placement, it will just bring in a lot of warm air versus cold air. So a couple days ago they saw a lot of snow, and those same areas will now be seeing lots of rain. That's how that's how the weather works, unfortunately. Notice after that we do see a brief area of cool air, and just to show you what the GFS shows in the long range, notice that we see quite a bit of, you can see a storm potential right there, another one, so an active pattern to say the least. And to be honest with you, I just realized that this is from the 12Z model run, so a bit older than the newer one, but the newer one is just coming in. I'll show you that in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the total snowfall. Notice it shows pretty high amounts across southern Wisconsin, maybe into portions of Iowa, northern Illinois, Michigan, and of course into southern Canada. Now, looking at the newer model run, the snowfall hasn't been updated, but what we can look at is the radar range / frozen. Clicked on the wrong thing yet again. But notice, so basically the timing has stayed the same. It's just at this point the track that's going to be pretty interesting to look at. So this is the latest model run. The biggest difference, it's a bit stronger, a bit earlier on, but generally the similar placement. The snow heaviest across southern Wisconsin, western Illinois, eastern Iowa, and again, a lot of cities could be looking at this storm potential pretty closely. Des Moines, Iowa, for example, may get a lot of snow out of this if this continues shifting to the north. Portions of Milwaukee may see some heavy snow out of this. Green Bay, Chicago, I mean, I'm still not excluding it, but again, it's been more of a northward trend. Portions of northern Michigan also seeing some pretty heavy snow. And as we push this away completely, notice that, again, the pattern seems relatively active with a lot of potential storm development. But out of the total snow that will fall from that system, or this system alone, okay, so I already tried showing the snowfall amounts. Again, they didn't load with this newest model run, but we'll just have to work with what we have. You saw that generally it was the same track, some pretty heavy amounts where the snow does occur. Where it doesn't, obviously there will be a sharp cutoff, which makes this storm pretty hard to forecast. Let's look at the NAM 12KM. This is a North American model, and to be honest with you, a lot of people don't like the NAM. I really don't either. I think they do a pretty poor job oftentimes, but they were one of the first models to indicate this northward trend, and really the other models followed them thereafter. So just to give you a reference, this model, the NAMs, were earlier and better with the track of the storm than the European was. So, it's not always the European that's correct. And I'm not saying that, that the NAMs are, I kind of am saying that they're most likely going to be correct more than the European, because the Europeans still want to bring the system across more of northern Illinois, but it has been also shifting further to the north just a day or two later than the NAMs. So notice, this is what the NAMs do. They automatically have more precipitation, more moisture. You can see very heavy snow across portions of Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin. Way more snow heavy across the western side of the system than the GFS was. And lots of rain for the Chicago area, northwest Indiana, Iowa, central Illinois, and into portions of the south. But then again, look at that, the snow into Des Moines. Milwaukee may probably even seeing some rain out of this. The NAM, you can see, takes most of the snow north of Milwaukee into portions like Green Bay, northern Michigan. There may be a bit of wraparound from this system that includes a bit of the Chicago area and the Missouri, northern Missouri, western Iowa again, or eastern Iowa. But taking a look at the total snowfall, you can see that it's pretty snow heavy. The NAM is showing quite a bit of snow. And the NAM 3 km shows similar results, while it goes out only to 60 hours, so much less further out than the NAM 12 km. The arrangement of the storm is similar to what the NAM 12 km is showing. You can see buoyant amounts of precipitation, pretty heavy snow, and a relatively weak low pressure, but it has, again, a ton of moisture to work with. Now, taking a look at the NAM 32 km, this is another version of it. This doesn't show total snowfall, it doesn't have the option to, but it shows us the precip radar / frozen. Notice what we see is more of a disorganized system, but definitely more further to the north than what the GFS shows. Notice Iowa, much of Iowa, especially south and eastern Iowa, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Milwaukee, first snow, then rain. So you can see this has been shifting towards the north quite significantly in the past model runs. And if you were to take a look at the, well, again, I told you that the precipitation is not shown on this, but of course I am a bit behind today. If you were to take a look at some other models like the RGEM, I think this one has the latest update. Okay, yeah, 18Z December 9th. It is a bit behind in terms of the last few hours, but I'll show you the rest on Pivotal Weather. But notice generally the trend of what the NAMs have been showing. A more northerly trend of this storm, right? Chicago, mainly rain. Milwaukee, mainly rain out of this. Des Moines, mainly snow. Kansas City, also mainly rain. Omaha, mainly snow. So a lot of changes. Green Bay also possibly seeing some heavy snow out of this, though you can see that the RGEM keeps the snow just south of Green Bay, and really more into Milwaukee and maybe into Chicago. But just through 77 hours of the system, the total snowfall, again, looks more leaning towards Milwaukee and in central Iowa, Nebraska. Kind of a combination of the NAM and the GFS. The GFS was more towards the south, NAM more towards the north, the RGEM kind of in between. Now, let's take a look at some other models, like the Canadian. So this is a pretty good model. It did a relatively good job with this system. Notice, it takes it more similar of what the GFS does, though it definitely does include portions of Des Moines, for example, in that heavy snow. So again, this has been an interesting storm and probably will continue to throw curveballs at us. So let's take a look at this Canadian model. This is now early Friday morning into mid-Friday day, Friday afternoon. This is Saturday morning. You can see rain across much of the central United States into the south, and snow breaking out across Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and into, obviously, you get that. The Canadian has been, I kind of forgot about this, the Canadian has been trending towards a second wave of this system, so it kind of has a first wave and then potentially developing a second storm. It has ever since stopped that, but you can see what it does right here. It initially develops a band of snow, right? And then it kind of tilts it further towards the north. And whether or not this actually continues to strengthen, sometimes during these setups we see very heavy snow on the backside. So we'll have to see whether or not the storm takes a track from something more like this to something more northerly. That would obviously result in more snow. But overall, 78 hours. Let's take a glance a little bit further out. Notice again, Chicago not really seeing snow out of this. Indiana, much of Illinois, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, even southern Minnesota, southeastern Minnesota. The extreme portions of those locations may see some snow into Omaha. And again, the Canadian keeps it a bit different from the rest of the models, but every model is slightly different. And I already showed you the snowfall, but here's a look again. Pretty heavy amounts. And you can see even the Canadian brings a little bit of snow into Oklahoma and Kansas, which we'll have to keep an eye on for. Notice southern Canada also seeing quite a bit of snow out of this. Even cities like Quebec may be picking up on some, Montreal and Ottawa. The European model. Now, this model, I would say, usually I like it. It's my preferred model. However, I can't really say that this time around. It's been an outlier, and it's been, it hasn't been starting a trend. It's been always late to the trend, if you will. The NAM model started pushing a storm towards the north. The European was reluctant. The NAM continued pushing this model towards the north. The European finally started to do it. And notice with the latest model run of the European, we have that little speed clipper, right? And then we start seeing that storm develop early Friday, midday Friday, late Friday afternoon. Notice we still have snow across much of Illinois, even into portions of Chicago with the European, but definitely also Kansas City possible, seeing some snow. What this European model does, though, again, is brings it further towards the north, similar to what the RGEM does and the GFS, not as far as the NAM, but definitely still farthest to the south. And you can see it develops a really, really strong band of precipitation of snow into Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan. And as this shoves off to the north, we see again Michigan sees snow, southern Canada, portions of the northeast start off with a thud of snow. And if you recall, the European couple days ago, or even yesterday, started showing a big system. Even 12 hours ago, it wanted to show a big storm across the southeast with this wave right here, but it has ever since changed its mind on that. And just to show you the total snowfall it predicts with this latest model run, it shows, again, quite a bit of snow. And now people may be looking at this, my weather forecast, right, and saying, oh, how is this a large storm? Well, I think the Tropical Tidbits may have done a pretty poor job in showing the snowfall amounts. It was kind of a blurry graphic. But if I zoom in on pivotal weather, right, and I go on regional, this is how much snow the European puts out. Again, the European I would say is the least inaccurate, but notice Des Moines, Iowa, 3.4 inches. Kansas City, 1.2. Chicago, Cook County, really, 1.5, ranging all the way to 8.5. Northern Illinois puts out over a foot. Same with Michigan. Much of central Michigan, over a foot, if not, even reaching towards the 18-inch mounts. Omaha also 2.4 inches, so this is quite some significant snow, and this is not the heaviest of the snow that the models are showing. Notice that the pivotal weather gives us these little numbers, and we can scan over and see how much snow is falling. I know that I have a yellow cursor, so you may not see it, but you can still see the numbers. But what I do want to take a look at is the other models. I know I showed you the Canadian, but I want to show you the Canadian snowfall on pivotal weather. Notice this is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. Again, Canadian, more heavy towards Michigan, quite a bit of snow, though definitely decent amounts. Des Moines, Iowa, 8 inches. Dubuque, 7.5. Milwaukee, really not a lot. Chicago, not a lot either. Northern Illinois, definitely seeing a bit more. Green Bay, not a lot either. Kansas City, not a lot either, though Omaha sees more with this. The Quad Cities see more with this. Into portions of southeastern Minnesota, maybe they see a bit of snow. And again, we'll just have to wait and see. Grand Rapids, again, kind of on that border between heavier snow and lighter snow. And if you were to take a glance at the NAM model, which I told you has done a pretty remarkable job with this system, you'll see that the amounts of snow are pretty high. So wait, this is the 18Z. I want to go, or 12Z. I want to go to the 18Z. And again, this is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. Notice this is what the NAM model shows. Yeah, it's some beefy amount. Dubuque, 20 inches. Des Moines, 11 inches. Milwaukee, 6 inches. Chicago, Northern Illinois, nothing. But into Kansas City, 2.1. Omaha, 12.5. Michigan, a bit lighter. Green Bay, 6.4 inches. So there's a lot of difference, kind of differentiating, if you will, among these models. And we'll just have to see how they start unfolding, how they start lining up. But again, it's all possible, especially since the models aren't still all in. And taking a look at the GFS, this is the first model I showed you, but I want to show you on pivotal weather what it shows. Lighter amounts towards the west, you can see Omaha maybe only 2 to 3, same with Des Moines, but increasing as you go into southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and Michigan. That's the GFS outlook on this storm. Now, taking a glance at portions of, I want to look at the GFS high-res, or V16, that's the GFS parallel. And this is its model run forecast. Notice it takes more of the heavy snow across central Illinois or into, heart of Chicago. This is an older model run, so I don't think it's as accurate, but the trend keeps very heavy snow. And I think that the Kuchera wouldn't be much of a change, if not even lighter amounts, because it's going to be a wet snow. So this, but the Kuchera sometimes either overdoes snow or underdoes snow. So I always just keep to the 10-to-1 unless it's a extremely high ratio or extremely low ratio. And again, this will be just interesting to see. I do want to point out a lot of mountain snow on its way as well. Portions of Canada also seeing quite a bit of snow. I don't know if I could actually zoom in on portions of Canada with. Maybe I can. Hold on. Canada. Let's go Eastern Canada and see these snowfall amounts a bit closer up. So this is what the come on. Does it show total snowfall? I don't think so. And what model is this? The V16. Okay, let's go to the NAM. This one should show snow across Canada, because I want to include my Canadian viewers in here, obviously. I focus a bit more on the Midwest, but total accumulated snowfall according to the NAM North American model. This is what it shows, and okay, yeah, I mean, I should have figured that out. It doesn't yet progress much of this snowstorm that far out. I mean, if 84 hours out, it's just beginning to occur across the Midwest. A little doorbell ring about that. Sorry about that, but the NAM doesn't go as far to show these amounts. Should have saw that coming, but for some reason it didn't. Let's just take a look at a longer range model, like the European, and let's do total accumulated snowfall. Notice quite some heavy amounts, and we definitely see again 11, 10, 12 inches widespread. Whether or not this goes further to the south, I would bet on the fact that it goes further towards the north. Sorry, this was the older European model. This is the newer one. Shifted things further to the north, but still the high amounts of snow are there, even higher concentrated amounts of snow. And taking a look at one of the other models, the regular operational GFS, you can see it shows snow just further towards the north, and so does the GDPS, which is the Canadian. Quite some heavy amounts, actually probably the most for Canada with this model. But that's basically it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. There's a lot of information to be resolved, figured out, but we'll be doing that in the next few days. Thank you.